Welcome to Real with me, Zara King. I have been in business and personal development for years alongside raising my family. I started in the beauty industry in 2011, moved into network marketing and then coaching and NLP. This podcast originally began helping beauty professionals, and now I support ambitious women in a wider arena of service-based businesses. It is all about real, uncensored conversations on coming home to you and your alignment. You are done playing at a level that you know you've outgrown, and you're ready to go all in on creating more income, more freedom, mental clarity, and a business that actually works for your life. Inside this podcast, we talk real business, real life, and the hard parts most people avoid, from identity to strategy and what it actually takes to grow as women and mothers who want it all. So if you're ready to trust yourself fully and step into your next level, you're in the right place. Hello, and welcome back to another episode. I hope you're good today. I hope you are well. I hope business is being super kind to you. Now, today's episode came from a coaching conversation that I have had recently with one of my clients. And honestly, it was one of those conversations where I was coaching her, but I was also like, oh my fucking God, yes. Like, yes, for myself as well. I've been there, I've done this. I mean, I have this all the time because I've been in most of my clients' shoes before, there or thereabouts. Our businesses might not have been exactly the same, but I'm like, been there. We were talking about money, but we weren't talking about money in a way that we were strategizing her next steps to earning more money, for example. We weren't talking about pricing and strategies and things like that. We were talking about the relationship we have with money. And I think this is something that affects absolutely everyone. It affects a lot more women than we realize. Because the thing is, like, if you think you've got financial problems, it stems back to your relationship with money. Now, I know that sounds a bit strange. Like, stay with me with this. I'm not going to say to you that, like, go and do 10,000 affirmations about money, about how you're rich and got millions in the bank, and then it will come true. Like, this isn't what we're doing here. What we're going to talk about is the way you see money, right? And that's what I mean when I say, like, the relationship you have with money. So it comes down to things like the way you speak about money, the way you think about money, because those thoughts that you're having deep down in the subconscious are quietly but strongly influencing your decisions every single day without you even realizing. And that's why your financial situation is the way it is. And it's a hard pill to swallow because you probably think, well, there's real life things that happen. Yes, I totally get it. But I also totally understand the whole law of energy and vibration and the fact that you are honestly creating your reality from the inside out. Okay? So I always notice this in women whenever I speak to people in business. They're really ambitious women. They are so fucking good at what they do, so capable, so intelligent, so talented, like better than me at whatever service they offer, and sometimes such a great business brain. And I'm like, wow, that was such a great idea. Why didn't I think of that, right? Genuinely brilliant women, so good at what they do. But this is what I notice. They say similar phrases over and over again, right? Things like, I can't afford it right now. Maybe they've done a bit of mindset work, like a bit of like pop a plaster on it type work. And they know that they can say things like, I can't afford it right now. Or they say things like, money is quite tight at the moment. Or I'm not great with money. Okay. And before you get your back up, before you come for me, I am not saying that there are not times when money genuinely is tight. I have those seasons all the time. You have those seasons all the damn time. It's not about, like I said before, slapping 10,000 affirmations and pretending that you've got more money in the bank account than you actually have. It's not about this toxic positivity stuff. It's not about Delulu, right? It is about recognizing that your brain is always listening to what you're thinking and what you're saying. Always, always, always. Every single thought that you have and that you repeat, every single story that you're telling yourself, every single label that you give things or give yourself, everything you do and say and think, your brain is wiring itself to believe that to be true, because it will start looking for evidence that it's true. Okay? If you think about it, if every single day you told yourself, I'm not great with money, right? Every day, your brain is going to start collecting that proof. It's going to be like, see, look, you've overspent there. Oh, look, see, you've made that mistake there. Oh, look, see, you should have done that differently. And like before not too long really, you will have realized that you've built this entire identity for yourself around being bad with money, or around not really trusting yourself to save and spend and invest. Or maybe you tell yourself things like, I'm not ready to invest. That's one of the biggest ones I see in these women, because they're great with money up to a certain level, and then it's like the rest scares them. And it's not because like they are bad with money. That's not actually true. It's just a story that they tell themselves, or maybe it's something that they learned in childhood from deeply rooted limiting beliefs that their parents had. But because you've repeated it so many times with emotion attached to it, because let's not fuck around, money has tangible outcomes for us, right? So it does create feelings in our body, which is emotion, right? So when we've repeated something so many times with emotion attached to it, the brain has accepted it into the subconscious as a fact. Okay, and I actually find this kind of work fascinating. I'm not an expert. I teach things like this, and I learn. I'm the student and the teacher forever, because I find it absolutely fascinating, right? Now, what I do with my clients is I'm like, right, let's think about your wealthiest self for a moment. So I want you to think, while you're listening to this, of your wealthiest self, right? And that doesn't necessarily just mean about what figure is in the bank, okay? That's fine. I don't want you to think about the materialistic stuff just yet. I don't want you to think about like the car that you've got, the house that you have, the whatever. I want you to think about how you feel when you're your wealthiest self, okay? Do you feel calm? Do you feel, content? Do you feel like you trust yourself? Do you feel like a boss bitch? Do you feel powerful? Like for me, I think money is quite powerful, as in like just the security of having it is a powerful feeling. Are you certain in yourself? Like the wealthiest version of you, she's probably quite certain that things are going to go in her favor. Things are going to work out, like you're going to figure it out, whatever the case, and let's just do this for fun. Do you think she spends all day sitting to herself and saying, well, I can't afford that and I never have enough and money is so stressful? No, of course she does not, because obviously when you're your wealthiest version of yourself, you understand that all of that matters, and you understand that your language is so important, and that the words that you think and say actually create your feelings. Like your thoughts are influencing your emotions and your feelings every single day, every minute of the day, whether you like it or not. And then those feelings are going to influence the energy that you're in, which is going to influence the decisions that you make, and ultimately the results that you can create. Yeah, it is one huge giant ripple effect. So I'm just, giving you this, facilitating this space for you to think about it for a minute, because the other thing that came up on this coaching call that we spoke about is that I think is, as well, by the way, is so important, is, a lot of people or women think that abundance or coming from a place of abundance and practicing abundance, because it's like a buzzword, right? It's like thrown around. They think that it means like pretending that everything's like perfect. Like, I have the best life, I have this, I have everything, I'm in abundance. Like, it's just so woo-woo and airy-fairy and fucking annoying at times, because it's just thrown around so much. So a lot of people just think, oh yeah, coming from abundance, like blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't mean that necessarily. Do you know what I mean? It's not pretending, like I said before, that you are a millionaire before the fact. It's not that. It's actually when you're in a state of abundance, there's neither like here nor there. Like you can't be halfway. It's not like in between. It's like you're either choosing the more useful approach, helpful approach, or you're choosing the less helpful approach, or let's just call it the unhelpful. Yeah. So if you're coming from a place of lack, it's like, well, I can't afford it. Okay, this is the opposite of abundance. It's a place of lack. There's lack or there's abundance. There's not really much in between. So instead of saying things like, I can't afford it, the abundant version of that would be like, oh, how can I afford this? You know? And you'll now hopefully, like listening to this, I'm hoping that you'll start to notice when you're coming from a place of either or, right? And you know, it can be exactly the same circumstance, but you can be in a state of abundance and gratitude for what you do have and optimistic about what you're about to have or what you will have in the future. It's completely different. And suddenly what happens is your body feels completely different when you come at it from that angle. And so therefore your brain actually goes, I'm going to look for possibilities. I'm not going to look for the proof that it's just never going to happen. I'm not going to look for the door to be closed. I'm going to look for the possibility, like for the different options, for the new ideas, for the solutions, yeah? Because obviously our brains are like wired to keep us safe. So the default effect will be like, oh, well, this is new. Oh, this is, you know, this is out of reach. This is a bit new. But if you're wiring it with enough repetition and emotion, like I mentioned earlier, your brain is going to love giving you that to focus on. It's going to be like, I can solve this problem for you. Okay. But what it can't do is it's not going to be like going against what you tell it. So it's not going to be like, if you've already closed the door on it, for example, and you're like, just can't afford it. Like, then it's not going to do that for you, you know? So this is what's happening when we are constantly telling ourselves something is possible or it's impossible. You know, if you are shutting something down before it even could be a thing, then that's what you're doing. Okay. So do I think that one podcast episode and just, you know, a little shift in your language on its own is going to make you have all of a sudden an influx of income and you're going to be rich overnight? Absolutely not. Like, of course not. You still need to take action. You still need to have sales in your business, which means you still need to do the stuff that moves the needle. You still need to show up and be visible, and you need your strategy, and you need to still make hard decisions at times. But the premise of this is that you need to, and sometimes we fall off the what's it called? We fall off the wagon with it, right? And we can be great at this for a while and then we can fall off. You need to know that it affects all of what you're doing. You know, everything I just mentioned, your sales, your decisions you're making, your visibility, all of those things are affected by the way you see yourself and your relationship with money. All of it is affected. Okay. Everything. If you believe that opportunity exists out there, you're going to behave differently. You know, when you trust yourself with money, when you trust yourself to do other things, not just money, but anything else in your business, you do behave differently. You do create different results. When you feel safer with money, when you trust yourself with money, you're going to behave differently. And this is the part that you have to kind of, nail. Yeah. It's like not the physical asset itself. It's not the physicalities of, is that even a word? It's not even that. It's not like the materialistic things and the physical stuff. It is the relationship you have. It is the internal stuff that goes on. Once you have a practice to shift your thought processes, like what I teach inside my containers, when you have that to refer to all the time, when you know how to rewire your brain and actually uncover limiting beliefs that are blocking you, even whether they're money or not money based, and then rewire the brain, and you know how, that's when things begin to change. So I want you to pay attention. Like, seriously, pay attention and notice how you do actually speak about, even inside your internal thought process, how you're speaking to yourself about the important things in your life and business. One of them being money, obviously. Yeah. Notice the stories that you repeat. And I think, even if I bring it back to when I was a child, I remember that one of the limiting beliefs inside of me was sort of like drummed in, that to have more, you had to work harder. And that meant more hours. And that meant, like, for example, dad not being home for dinner time. Do you know what I mean? Because he's out working. And I'm not afraid of hard work, by the way. Just going to put this out there. It's not saying that that's the case. It's just that there are little things that build up in time where you're like, okay, these stories that weren't even mine got ingrained into me. That, like, to have more, you had to work harder. Money was difficult to come by. Let's just be honest. Like, you had to work really hard to get some money. And it was like, how the other half live is what I was always told. And I thought, how do the other half live? It just felt so far away to have wealth and to have, more stability. And so think about that. Don't just notice your own thoughts, but notice things that you believe to be true about money that might be deeply rooted, things that come up from your childhood, from your past relationships, even past friendships, and just notice those things that you've put on yourself that maybe actually before you move forward, you've got to release some of this baggage. Like, it's not a case of adding more beliefs and adding more on, and it's actually the unlearning process. It's actually the letting go of and the taking that massive rucksack off your back of all of these unhelpful, unwanted, limiting beliefs and stories, and going, oh my fucking God, now I feel lighter. Now I can add. Do you know what I mean? And then move forward. That's what I kind of want you to do on the back of this episode. But that conversation with my client, of course, ended with her having her, process. And she now has all of the journaling prompts that she needs. And she can work through these money blocks so that they can actually dissolve. Because until they're gone, they will continuously hold people back, So think about all of this, and what would your wealthiest person version of you actually say? When you do spot something coming up in your brain and you're like, no, my wealthiest version of me would not say that, then it's time for you to start rewiring with a new story and changing the game for yourself. Anyway, that is pretty much it for today. I feel like it's a super important conversation to have, but we can keep it there. We can keep it short and sweet. So if it helps you, let me know. If anything comes up for you, let me know. You've got my details. They're all in the description. Reach out to me. Take a screenshot, pop it on your stories and tag me. I absolutely love to see who's listening. And if you haven't left a review yet, I would be massively grateful if you did. Thank you. And I will see you in the next episode. Sending you all the love.